Discover, connect, engage, become. Discover, connect, engage, become. Discover, connect, engage, become with CURNcast.
Hey there, research friends. It's your host, Lauren Ocano, and we're back with another episode of the CURNcast, where we are breaking down the barriers to research. On today's episode, it's a part 2 of our Storytime with Grad Student series, where we're going to sit down with a Master's of Science in Environmental Economics and Management student, Saaransh Bhardwaj. We're going to talk all about grad school, including the highlights, the lowlights, and some tips and tricks to keep in mind if you're thinking of applying. Let's check it out. I would like to acknowledge that the CURNcast is being recorded and created on the traditional and unceded territory of the Tecumloops to Secwepemc within Secwepemcúlecw. I am very grateful to be able to learn, play, and create on these beautiful lands. So welcome. This is our interview with Masters of Science in Environmental Economics and Management student, Saaransh. Welcome, Saaransh.
Thank you, Lauren. It's nice to be here.
I'm happy to be chatting with a master's student because this is what this episode is all about, getting the dirt on grad school and just having a casual conversation about what it's like to be a grad student and how you got here. And you're doing your master's at TRU, correct?
Yeah, I'm doing my master's at TRU.
Cool. Well, I think to get started, we're going to do a brief lightning round. So how it's going to work is I'm just going to read off the question and you're going to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. So are you ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. What was the last thing that you researched?
The committee, my carbon accounting project.
Cool. And what is a current research interest of yours?
It's about sustainability and environment.
Anything specific in that area or just in general?
Just the carbon accounting, like to measure the carbon footprints of a local organization, and then like recommending how we can reduce those footprints.
Who's someone who inspires you in research?
The TRU Graduate Research Office, because that's how I started my journey, I would say.
What would you say is your research superpower?
The analysis. I would say the analysis part, like making different charts and flow charts in Excel and doing that kind of stuff.
Not many people say that one, so I like that. It's a unique answer. What do you wish more people knew about research?
How to make research more sustainable.
Okay, and then the last question is, what would be your message to future TRU student researchers?
The research starts by putting yourself in the community you are working with, getting to know about more about your community and how you can make it better, I would say.
That's really good advice. And I feel like a lot of, especially undergrad students, don't broaden their scope that much to look into issues in their community, but that's really where a lot of cool and valuable research comes from. So that's a great piece of advice, I would say. Okay, cool. So that was the end of our lightning round. I'm super curious to hear about your journey. And I'm ready to get into it. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey just as a student and then going more into being a researcher?
Yeah, sure. So I started my journey at TRU doing Masters of Arts in Environmental Economics and Management. That's MEEM, MEEM. And then I started doing research with TRU Graduate Research Office and putting myself a lot into research and community-based research. And that really piqued my interest. And then I switched from MEEM to MSEEM, that is Masters of Science in Environmental Economics and Management. And I guess then I continued my work at TRU Graduate Research and Office, doing more research projects, and yeah.
So you're currently doing the Master's of Science in Environmental Economics and Management, which is that still affiliated with the School of Business?
Yeah, it still comes under School of Business and Economics.
Cool.
Actually, Bob Bob Clardy School of Business and Economics. It has been renamed now. So
Awesome. And so I'm curious to know what got you into, why did you decide to do your master's here?
I came as an international student. So, and I have my undergrad in geography. So, and then I was looking to kind of advance my career and the degree as well. And the program at TRU, like the program that I'm doing is like a blend of economics as well as environment. So I was really keen to know that how we can blend both of those, or how we can make things more sustainable by drawing graphs and everything by using different tools in economics rather than just explaining the numbers. So that's how.
Cool. And how did you hear about this program? Did you kind of do some digging on your end and just find it yourself, or did you have people to talk to?
I kind of started it on my own. So like I started researching about different universities in Canada and who provides like the grad school, like, and then I got to know a lot. Like when you research, you got to know about different schools, and then you can like you can fit yourself. You see where you see yourself, in which school you see yourself in, and then yeah, it was just based on some Google and research.
So you did research to now become a researcher.
Oh yeah,
Research is everywhere.
it is.
So did you always know that that was kind of the path that you wanted to take? Have you been, since you were born, like, this is my dream, I'm going to be a researcher, or is it something that came out in a different, unique way?
I actually did not. So when I started, I mentioned before that I started as a meme student, which was really a course-based program in TRU, and then I started doing research at TRU Graduate Research Office, doing some community-based projects like You Are Here, or the community-based engaged research, like looking out different NGOs in Kamloops and studying about them, studying about what are the weaknesses and what are the strengths of these NGOs. So that's really what sparked my interest. That okay, I really want to get into research, and now I'm doing my own research. My research project is about calculating the carbon footprint of a local organization in Kamloops, assessing their needs and assessing what are their weaknesses and what are their strengths in terms of sustainability, and how we can reduce those by suggesting some using some economic tools like cap and trade and everything. So yeah.
I really like how your area of study is kind of a blend between multiple disciplines, and it really sounds like you have taken the time to combine a lot of things that you're interested in, community-based aspects with sustainability and with science and business. I think that kind of mishmash of all those things makes for a really cool and meaningful project. And a lot of times when we're thinking about going and doing research, I like to put things in boxes and be like, oh, I can only do science research and chemistry, or I can only do community research. But right now there's such a opportunity to find what's right for you and blend it together. So
Not many schools in Canada, they provide this course or this degree. It's really a new field of study too, like blending the environment as well as economics. So yeah.
I'm also curious to know a little bit about, you keep mentioning the You Are Here project. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure, why not? So the You Are Here project was in collaboration with the City of Kamloops, the Graduate Research Office, and Researcher in Residence. It was a temporary exhibit that was in Kamloops Museums and Archives. So what we were doing through that exhibition was we were collecting the input from the community members about what they think the culture is to them, and how we can improve that, how we can enhance that, what are the barriers to their participation in culture. So it really helped in I would say in community building process and community inclusion, because it was open to everyone, every age group. So we got to hear the different perspective as well as ideas of different age groups. So that was really good. We over the summer we had around 2,000 visitors in the exhibition, and The tool that we were using for the URL project was called the cultural mapping, which is an art-based method. It is a draw and talk protocol where the visitors or the visitors are given a question and they draw a visual representation in relation to that question, and then it is followed by a short interview. So we use that, and yeah, whatever the information or the input that we got from that exhibition will go into the cultural strategic plan for the city of Kamloops, because city is evolving right now, it's growing, it's booming. So we need to capture all the cultural aspects, because the last cultural strategic plan that we had was in 2003. So as the city is evolving, there are a lot of pressing issues that we need to capture into. So that was really a very good project, I would say.
Definitely. And that sounds like it incorporates even more kind of different fields of disciplines with the drawing, the art-based methods. So you're just a multidisciplinary scholar, it sounds like, researcher.
It helped me to grow and learn a lot of skills too, because there was a lot of mapping, and that was really aside from my field of study, because my field of study was a carbon accounting and doing research in sustainability, but this one was more a community-based research. So that was like switching from one field of research to another field of research. So yeah,
I find that project really interesting, and the whole researcher in residence program very interesting, because I think a lot of people, including myself, our conception of research before programs like this were, oh, we decide as a researcher what problems are important to us, and then we design a research question around that and just go find the answer to it. But what's really cool about projects like this is it's bridging community problems, community gaps. They're coming to researchers and kind of matchmaking and saying, hey, we're looking for answers to these questions. Can you help us find them? And then you get to embark on this really cool collaborative journey where you get to meet people, get a sense of the community that you're in. And I feel like that way the work feels really meaningful because it has a direct impact on something that's going around right now.
Hey, welcome back to Hit the Streets. Hear that funky music beat? Let's hear from question 2 now.
What are your tips for students going into grad school?
So I would say that you need to be very intentional with what you are going for, right? Whatever subjects or whatever majors or whatever course you're choosing, you should be very intentional with it because grad school is expensive. So you need to be very intentional and know where you're going so that you can allocate money and go in that direction.
My first, I wanted to say don't do it, but yeah, if you would like to do it, I think you should be prepared to put in the work. There's really a lot of work, and you should be prepared to put in the work, and extra studies help, extra resources, and always don't be afraid to ask questions because they're always willing to answer your questions. Yeah. Not just from the professors, but from your classmates too. There are people that have experience that can help you. Yeah.
Enjoy your time. Don't be afraid to be intellectual, and have some courage to think through ideas that make you uncomfortable. So become uncomfortable because you're there to embrace new thinking.
I would say time management is very important. So plan your time well and stay on top of your deadlines. If not, you will suffer. So basically, manage your time well. Yeah.
Find a program that you're interested in and is not overly expensive.
Get involved with undergraduate research where you can in order to prepare yourself.
Grad school is actually an interesting sort of transformative moment for students. They make that leap from undergrad to graduate, but it's more than that. It's actually about making an intellectual leap from absorbing and regurgitating information to creating new information through research. I think the most important thing that I've learned is to have connections with potential graduate supervisors in advance and to contact them to see if they'll supervise you, see what their research interests are about, and then go from there. If you just blindly apply, your chances of success are limited, even if you have really high GPA.
Be productive, be critical, and be creative. Okay? Fear not.
Well, that's it for question 2.
See you next time on Hit the Streets, folks.
My next question for you, Saaransh, is what do you like about your research, and what do you like about grad school right now?
What I like about research and grad school is it might be more specific to my program. I would like to say that it has different opportunities, different fields that you can research in. Like recently, a classmate of mine, she did her research in the valuation of natural parks in Kamloops. So that was about, because that was putting a value on ecosystem services, like a monetary value on ecosystem services, because we as committee members do not value the ecosystem services that we get from parks, like recreation and all that kind of stuff. And unless we put a monetary value on those, like a dollar amount on those things, we do not appreciate what has been given to us by nature. So yeah, and then we recently launched a book too that was about the valuation of Kamloops parks, and that was also really good, where each student wrote about different parks in Kamloops, about the ecosystem services that we get, and then putting like a dollar value on those ecosystem services.
So
yeah.
Are you saying that you're also a published author then, Saaransh?
Yes,
Wow.
with my I wrote it with my professor Peter Sigarius and all my fellow classmates. So it was just not me; it was all my classmates and my professor as well. So that was also really a big step. So yeah.
Do you find that at TRU it's easier to make those external connections and make a lot more connections to find opportunities because it's a little bit smaller?
Yeah, because of the small class size, I would say you get more connected to your professors as well as teachers. And then, yeah, it's easy to build connections, and yeah.
So now I'm going to flip it on you. And my next question is there anything in research that frustrates you? That's like, oh, I really wish that, this was different, or I don't really like this about research.
I would like to say that if we can make research a little bit more sustainable, I would say. Like we were doing the You Are Here project, like I mentioned before, that was in Kamloops Museums and Archives. And I wish that it was really a little bit more paper oriented. I would say that we were using papers for getting input from the committee members. Like when we were doing the mapping sessions, we needed a good quality paper. So it was a little, not, I would say a little frustrating, but not a lot. But then we did, I tried calculating all the carbon footprint throughout the project, like how much emissions have we emitted through this project, or through like just measuring one aspect of the project, like how much emissions we emitted through the posters that we printed. And then we did offset those emissions by planting a tree on TRU campus. Although planting a tree is not a really good option, but to offset those emissions, but it does help in the society too. So that helped me to offset my frustration as well. So
I'm also wondering if you have any tips. Do you have any tips that you would like to share with students who are considering grad school?
I would say that research a lot before you try to get into what grad school you want to get into, because it can be a huge financial investment too, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. So do a lot of research about the future opportunities that particular grad school open up. Look into different scholarships that are available for the grad school. And what I would say is It might be scary, but you have to have effective time management skills too. You have to balance between life, work, as well as leisure. So that is also really important to have really good time management. And I would say uh, when you're in a grad school, you don't leave things up to last, like your exams and everything. Cramming is not an option. So I would say that when it comes to submitting your assignments or anything, or like a research paper or something, do it in advance, get repeated feedback from your professors. So that would really help you to get into the direction, I would say, that you really want to get into.
Yeah, that sounds like really great advice, and some that I probably need to incorporate into my own routine as well. So just going back quickly to when you're doing research on grad school, you say really look into what schools are for you, and maybe the types of supervisors or the types of programs that they offer. Do you know of any other supports that are available for that? Like, do you think it's just up to the individual student to go figure it out, or what other things would you look for in that process?
I think if you try to Google, or it will give up you a list of different grad schools, but it depends on your own interest. Like, try to like sit down and think that, okay, do you want to go into grad school related to environment or sustainability or natural science or chemistry or physics, or what you exactly want to do. And then like TRU, it offers, like when I was, so first of all you want to research on what grad school you want to get into, and then you want to see what are the different resources that particular school provides. Like TRU has writing center, TRU has career and experimental learning center, TRU has math center. And then it really helps, like in case you are deep into waters, and then you can just knock on their door and say that, hey, I need help with the maths, I need help to boost my resume. And yeah, so that I would say that you should look into to the resources that particular school or particular university provides you.
And what about choosing a supervisor? How did you go about doing that?
Choosing a supervisor, I would say, can be really hard. You have to see what your research area is. Like mine is, so like I said, I'm doing carbon accounting project, so that is mostly based on policies. And then I was like, okay, let's see who has expertise in policies, who is the professor who has. So then I was like, okay, Joel would be a right fit. And secondly, like you have to see, like most of the professors are really friendly, really accommodating, and really approachable. So these are the qualities in professors or traits that you would be looking into while choosing your supervisor, that who is more comforting, who is ready to be available all the time for you, because you don't know how long it is going to take. So, and I'm lucky that, I mean, it wasn't really hard for me to choose a supervisor because all of them were really good, and I was like, okay, Joel Wood, thank you.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
So it sounds like a good way to do that is maybe just if you have the opportunity to chat with some professors and see what their interests are. And
yeah, you can do chat with the professors, or you can do with the graduate advisors, like in TRU with the School of Business and Economics, we have different graduate advisors, like 2 or 3, and you can chat with them that who would be the right fit for my project, who would be the right fit to be my supervisor as well as co-supervisor, because we need a co-supervisor as well in some projects. Yeah.
I have a last question for you. So now we're going to rewind and have you think back to when you first started your research journey as a baby researcher. What advice would you give yourself?
I would say that rather than sticking to one research area, I would like to stick to different research areas rather than doing research just in sustainability or environment, because like by doing the community projects, you can not only explore that area, but you can see how you can relate your sustainability and environmental field into that area. You will see that how all those things intermingle with each other, how they are all related to each other. Like you can see how the community-based projects, like the social aspects, like the political aspects, and how you can, like while I was doing the You Are Here project, I was able to see the overlap between the climate action plan for the city of Kamloops as well as the cultural strategic plan for the city of Kamloops. So that I would not have captured that if I would not have put myself out of my boundaries and say yes to this project during the cultural mapping, because cultural mapping was not something that I learned in my class or in the school or in the grad school. And then I would have been like, I don't know what cultural mapping is. Should I do it or should I not do it? And then I did it. And then when I did it, I learned that how it is related to my field, how it is, you can see the overlap between different aspects. So don't limit yourself into your room, I would say.
And that's something that comes up really frequently on this entire season is don't box yourself in, don't put limitations on yourself, and just take a risk and see where it leads sometimes. I think that's the beauty of research and something that everybody should at some point take advantage of, because there are some really great things that come out of it. And you never know, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this conversation, Saaransh. I really learned a lot myself about what it's like to be a grad student. Is there anything else that you want to share with us before we send it off?
No, I don't think so. I would just say everyone to best of luck if you're applying for the grad school, and yeah, all the best.
Those were some great tips on how to approach grad school, and I want to thank both of our special guests for sharing their knowledge and wisdom. Thank you for listening to the CURNcast. I can't wait for you to continue breaking down barriers to research with us on our next episode. We'll see you soon.